All right. Hi. We're doing a live broadcast. Well, not live, pre-recorded broadcast with Mr. Larry Hank to meet you, sir.
Hi,
How are
well,
you
it's
doing?
great to be here.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Um, I'm doing actually fine. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that's not fine, but right now I'm well. Let me put it this way: I'm on schedule. You know,
Okay, there
I
you go.
I
Yeah.
planned I planned to do a podcast at 10:30, and actually I'm 15 minutes ahead of schedule. So everything else is just going along fine, but that doesn't mean anything in life. It
Right.
means stuff, in school maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, how has life been treating you though?
Well, it doesn't treat me, you have to pay for everything, but it's doing fine. I think today finished a query letter. That's what I'm into now. Query letters. I don't know if you know, because when you write books, instead of auditions for in acting, when you write a book, you do a query letter, which is a written
Oh,
audition for your book. I don't understand book. The book business is really even weirder than the acting business, and the acting business is pretty weird. But in the book business, you have to not only write a book and finish it, you can't, and finish it, uh, before you can sell it or get an agent or anything like that. And then after you finish writing, which takes you months or years sometimes to write a novel or a book for over 300 pages. After you do all that, you then have to write a synopsis of your novel, which is a whole other type of writing. It's like, wait a minute, I want to be a novelist, not an essayist or a synopsisist or
so
whatever
it's
you
like being in
call it.
college, huh?
Like what? Say that
Like
again.
like being in college.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just all you get is homework. You know what I mean? It doesn't end. It's just you go to another class with more homework, and that's it.
Right.
So I just finished writing. It took me 3 weeks to write, and that's like supposedly the right amount of time. 3 weeks to a month to write one letter, and the letter has to be no more than 2 pages long. But you have to take what took you a year or minimum 6 months to write 300 pages, and you got to boil it down exquisitely to 2 pages and then send that. And if they like that, then they'll deign to read your book, your 300 pages. So, and if you talk to people who know, oh, what should you do? How does it really work? Well, they all say the same thing. Well, the query letter is the key. You got to get a good query letter. Well, what about the book? No, 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 no. The query letter. I mean, it's weird. It's just, I mean, I guess it's like an audition. You have to be great in the audition, and then you can be, ordinary, regular, normal in the movie. But the audition, you have to be, you know. So it's
Yeah.
just, it's beyond my ken, to figure. So, I mean, but that's the kind of problems I have. Nothing big or humongous or, just that query letter novel, getting an agent. That's the my big project now. I put it on my bucket list.
Okay. So would you say a query letter is more um I wouldn't say scary, like when you go into an audition, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
are they
no, yeah, because
which is
yeah,
worse, the
I
query
was.
letter or
It's very, it's so important. They make it so important. that you do get all, like uptight. So I was writing, uh, I figured, well, okay, I'll do my best to write a really good query letter. So, I sit down and I concentrate and I write. Maybe I do a rewrite the next day. So that's like one day, and then I rewrite it the next day and okay, and send it in. No, no. If you ask the experts, they say, no, no, it's gotta be, you gotta work on your query letter for at least a month. It's gotta be good. Yeah, come on, man. When does it end? And then
Oh
once you get
man.
an agent, you got to send it to the publisher. It's not, and it just passes on. The public. Then you got to get it to a distributor, who then gets
Oh,
it to the bookstores, and then somebody has to buy it, and then you have to publicize it. I'm just exhausted just explaining to you the situation I'm in. But
oh,
but that's it. It's not like a big deal. It's just me in my little home here, my little apartment. I go through these, I got to make it better. I got to make it bigger. But I mean, life is okay. It's fine. How's it in Alaska? What's going
Ala-
on?
Alaska's great. You should come up and visit sometime.
Well, but
I'll show you
all
around up
this
here.
is there any snow left up there, or
Oh, comes every year.
or-
Send you some if you want. Yeah, no, we just hit autumn. Well, technically, um, our 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 world is a little different from the lower 48.
yeah,
Where you definitely tell summer, definitely winter, all that. It's all in one. Like you don't
oh
know if you're
really?
wearing boots or take it all in one car, and you don't know what you're going to get into because it could be a sunny day going up the mountain, and then all of a sudden you're up the mountain, and then there's a whole bunch of snow. So then you got to wear
Right,
a snowsuit, snow up there, on the glaciers and all that stuff. But it's fun.
right.
I mean, you still get the berry picked down on the hill. Then you get to see the bears and the moose and the Dall sheep. That's my favorite. And the eagles. I love photography and all that stuff.
Oh,
And
cool.
so that's that. I love traveling out here. And I did my first helicopter ride
Oh yeah,
at the
well
state
that must
fair.
be scary.
Oh,
That's scary because there's no wings. That's when
yeah.
when I went up in a helicopter. I'm going, there's no wings. There's no way this can fly.
Oh man, that was a great experience, and especially as a photographer, I said, well, look at this. I'll spend the $600 on that just to get those photos. I mean, just going around
Right,
the mountain and then seeing the sheep right on there, and then seeing the glacier on a different level, and seeing the different perspectives of different
right.
things. And I was like, wow, but still scary to a point because
It,
I don't want to go flying into a mountain. Like,
yeah, right. I mean, it's yeah, you're up there, and there's nothing between you and the earth, which is very far away.
yep.
But I mean, fall wise, it's a long distance. Yes,
Absolutely.
I've been on two helicopters, and the second time you figure, well, I've done this. No, the second time you get on a helicopter and it starts to go about 10 feet off the ground, and you go, wait a minute, there's no wings.
Yep.
It can't fly. There is no way. And you go up higher and higher. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah.
And then, if you were, like a stuntman or something, people jump out with parachutes, and well, that's crazy, man. I don't. Well, why did you get in the helicopter? What was the reason you even went on it?
The experience.
Oh,
I mean,
you just did it for yourself. Cool.
yeah.
No, that's cool.
At the state fair it was $90, versus the
Oh
five
man,
ninety five.
yeah. Well, see, I would do that. And then,
Right?
then you get on and you want to get off right away. I don't care.
Yeah. It was like
Keep the
90.
money. I want to live.
Yeah, it was like $90 for a 18-minute ride, which still it was a
That's
ride
pretty
around
good.
the mountain, and I was like, well, this is pretty cool. Like just
Yeah,
for the spot at the state fair. I said, okay, I'll do that every year and catch different shot. Now that I know what I'm looking at, I'll sit in a different seat and so my
right.
brain go automatically has pictures I want. So
Yeah.
and I wanted to do a video, because I started video, trying to do videography as
Oh,
well. So I'm
cool.
learning all that stuff and so I was like, okay, well, and then I seen the guy on the top of the mountain. I mean, he was like literally this small. And I said, that
Right.
is coolest thing. And I'm, you know, like, and just
Well, what about just taking a helicopter up to the top of the mountain and then just, landing, getting off and say you climbed it? But
right.
actually, it's just a helicopter ride. We see that
Uh,
that's the I guess that's the upside of a helicopter is it gets you someplace there's no other way to get, or
right.
or it gets you there faster and easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and it but the gamble, you theoretically it's very safe. I mean, hundreds, thousands of helicopters are flying all the time. Very rare that one, I dare I say, crash. Do I even mention
Yep.
it in
Right.
in the conversation? You don't want to bring up any
Right.
bad vibes. But yeah, yeah. So it's one of those things that there's no reason to think it's risky, but you're nervous. I was nervous the second time, even though I knew it's cool, it's great. The just you want to have a pair of wings in your pocket, just in case.
Exactly. And I love the float planes. Um,
Oh, the pontoon planes?
oh, yeah, that's my favorite. I love planes. Me and my grandfather, we always watch the planes and everything like that. And
Landing
but
on
the
water.
float planes, absolutely. And I was like, I always wanted to fly them. I'm more scared of that versus the helicopter. And I was like, that's
Right.
kind of, you know, and so I'm like, I'm still trying to get uh that that the fear to go away in a way,
Yeah.
in a sense, because I'm
Well,
like,
I
man,
guess eventually on the route, like the 97th or 98th time you go up, it'll finally go away. I mean, it does go
it's
away. That's the thing about life. Everything eventually goes away, disappears, breaks apart, rusts. It just, just goes away. It's just,
right.
but you just have to wait for it to do that, which is, kind of, I'm, I'm impatient. What do you call it? Instant gratification. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My grandmother had just told me that before she passed a couple of years ago. She goes, "You are the most impatient person." It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess that again is life. I guess it's very hard to relax nowadays. You just got to keep up with
yeah.
everything. The internet, social media, it's all
Ugh,
coming at you. So
ugh.
yeah, that's another thing I try to, I guess, control. I mean, it's kind of nice in my apartment. I don't want it to go outside and disturb the vibes.
No.
So yeah, it's kind of cool. I live near the ocean, and frankly, I've lived near the ocean pretty much all my life. I mean, in some form or another, moving around, but I'm always near the shore. But I haven't gone swimming in maybe about 10 years, and the beach is right down here, just like four tiny blocks away, and it's
Wow.
the Pacific Ocean. But it was really hot the last week, and I never got around to it. I kept saying I should go swimming today or maybe tomorrow. But I never could put it together. I
Man,
was
you're
working
braver
on
than
my
me.
well, I was working on my query letter. Just
Yeah. Well, I mean, couldn't have gone outside to go and do that at the ocean and sit there and write
well,
your
I was thinking of that too. Sometimes I'll take a book that I'm reading to help me write in writing. Reading a well-written book so I can get like good writing into my DNA or whatever, into my consciousness, or my
yeah.
subconsciousness is even better. But yeah, so I never got around to it. But really, I sometimes I'll have to lock myself. Well, I don't lock myself in, but I'll be in the house for 2 or 3 days. I won't go out, you know, or I'll just go out to get some food if I run out of food. It's like being in Alaska when it's in the middle of a snowstorm. I mean, you don't.
Absolutely.
Is there times during like the winter when you're kind of snowed in, where you can't go very far? Does it get that bad?
It does get bad. Last year we had like 3 winters in one day. I mean, so I mean, it just
Whoa.
snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, but
Yeah.
uh,
Your roof will
But
cave in.
it pretty much, yeah, we have to have all of our roofs taken care of because a lot of people
Right.
have their roofs, and then we had the earthquake, and then we had a whole
Oh,
bunch of
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So I know you know about earthquakes, but we had a
Oh,
seven.
yeah. Well, earthquakes and fire. I just went through an earthquake day before yesterday. Here, right here.
Oh,
It
oh
was
wow.
4 mile. It was 4 miles away, and it was a small one. But I've been in the '97. There was a famous earthquake in California where my building. I was in an apartment house, kind of like this one, but in another place, and and it was destroyed. The building was destroyed. That's how bad it was. I mean, I was
Wow.
my friend was sleeping on the couch, and I was sleeping in the bedroom, and my bed. I rode my bed. I was sleeping. It happened at night, about 2 in the morning. And all of a sudden, the bed started, well, the whole building started to shake, but the bed is going like this. And then it started
Uh,
moving around the room.
oh yeah,
Oh,
that's fun.
oh, man, that is the weirdest. You just grab onto the mattress. You hope the ceiling doesn't cave in or whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
But the elevator, because it was like, 10-story apartment. So there
Mm,
was an elevator, but the elevator was at part of the building, but it was on the outside of the building. So in other words, you could see the
okay.
shaft
Yeah.
attached to the building.
Yeah.
That was earthquaked off.
Oh.
It went this way. Yeah, it just the building started to shake like this, and it went, and it just peeled off, man.
That
Whoa! If somebody was
just
in that elevator, holy
yeah.
cow, what a ride! And then the crack, the earth crack, there's a road right in front of well, I guess in front of any house is a road. So the earth, it happened about 10 miles away. So that's how big it was. It ruined 10 miles away, and it destroyed my apartment building. So it must have been big where it happened. But
Wow.
the earth cracked right exactly across the road, not like with the road, but it came from way back there across the road and split the building. It went right through the center of the building. So that's why it
Oh
was
wow.
shaken so much. Now it didn't cleave the building in half, but it did cleave that off. And these water towers. I mean, it was an amazing thing. I haven't talked about it since then. So, but
Huh.
when I think most big buildings, at least 10 stories, apartment houses, office buildings, they have a water tower on the roof. All buildings do. I guess it's gravity for the water. If you turn on the faucet, it's 10, and you're on the
Yeah.
10th floor. So the water goes down. So they get a pump to pump it up, and then each building. Okay, that burst on the roof. That water
That's
tower.
gotta be fun.
Oh man. So when you were trying to escape, because you couldn't use the elevators, it was just like, do not use. So we're going down the escape, things on the 10th floor, and it's a
Hmm.
waterfall. The tower, that thing burst. And that's like,
Wow.
hundreds of thousands of gallons, man. That's like huge. A 10-story building, apartment house. Water
Yeah.
burst, and it just went down the escape stairways, flowed. So you're walking down, and you're walking like down a downhill water stream, like a waterfall. It's
And,
it's splashing down the stairs, and you're trying to run down.
and you
Man,
keep
it was beyond scary. It
it
became so
on.
weird. It became like a surreal. I don't believe this is
Yeah.
this is a dream. It's got to be a dream. It's too real. It's got to be a dream. And then everybody, it's like 2 in the morning, and the entire, everybody's running down these stairs, and water is pouring and the thing, and people are, some were hurt. Some people were hurt. Okay. Uh, this is the last story. I got to get it out of my system.
Yeah.
But
Go for it.
um, well, so we're all huddled in our pajamas, everybody. I mean, nobody could grab anything. You just start to run because the building is being shaken down. I mean, you got to get out of there. That's all you're
Right. Yeah.
thinking. Get out. And so everybody's down there in their pajamas. It's 2, 3 in the morning. And we just had to stand there until the sun came up. So you could, now the crack that went, from all the way over there through the building. So the road is like this, this is the road in front of the building.
Yeah.
And it cracked, but it cracked like this, up. One side went up and the other side went down. So cars, now the sun is coming up. And there's cars, trying to get back home or get off the road or go somewhere. So when they went by, if you're coming on this side, my thing is reversed, so that's why I'm having difficulty here. But if you're on this high road going this way, you don't see that it's hidden.
It fell through. Yeah.
It's like this.
Oh.
You don't
So
see it.
how
So
many
the
people
car,
were going?
well, if there's 1 or 2 people, but they're just driving along, trying to get home, trying to get away
Yeah.
from this, trying to go somewhere safe. So they're not really paying attention to driving; they're escaping, and they're as they go over the edge onto. I mean, if it was a cliff, they would just go over it, But they,
Yeah. Yeah.
now, if you're coming the other way, you see it, and if you try to get over it, the tires, it's too high for the tires. It's not like a curb; it's higher than a curb. So the tires just bonk into it, and then they have to back up into. I mean, it was chaos, man. It was okay. I got that out of my system. Okay, but it was
Oh.
really earthquakes. Earthquakes are something else.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because if they're happening too far away, then you don't even know about it. You say, oh, it's an earthquake. But when it happens to human, there's nothing else in the world. It's just this now forever. And it was pretty long. I mean, like my friend who was in the living room, he nearly got killed by debris
Mm.
caving in and things falling. It just
Yeah.
missed him by second. You know what saved his life? I mean, literally saved his life. I had a pet cat. Uh, I had a pet cat before the earthquake. I had a pet cat. But he was sleeping on the couch and I was sleeping in the bedroom. So the cat, for some reason, I mean, never did it to me, but it slept on his chest. He was there for, I think, 4 days. So
Oh.
the cat would just, when he went to sleep, the cat would just climb up and just go to sleep on his chest. I have no idea. Every night, that's what it did. Okay, so this night during the earthquake, he's sleeping on the couch, and I had a huge fish tank, about 60 gallons, so it's big,
Mhm.
right behind the couch, right behind it. Oh, it's about that far away. You could walk behind the couch, but then there's a fish tank in the couch. And on the other side of the couch was, these things where you can put your television set in. It's like a bookcase for a television set. They
Yeah.
sell, it's an unique bookcase, but you put this. Okay, that's in front of the couch. There's a coffee
Okay.
table, and then there's a zig. It's not far away. It's just beyond the coffee table. Okay, the earthquake starts. Now, 5 seconds before the earthquake, because the earthquake hit with a punch. There was nothing, and then it went. I mean, really, holy cow. That boom, 3 seconds before that punch, the cat's claws just went through the blanket and into my friend's chest. Wow! And it jumped up, but he bolted up because of it. And then this bolt hit and he rolled off the couch. And the fish tank exploded and the TV thing fell. And they both went like this onto the couch. So he would have been crushed by water, broken glass, and a television set, which fell on the
Wow.
couch. And he was he fell on the floor. So the couch, he was under the.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
I went in, I got off my bed, I went and I got him.
definitely.
And we just ran down these stairs and his waterfall is coming down the stair. Oh man. It was it was an amazing experience. You don't even think about, you're not scared. I mean, you just go into another mode. Your body just.
I thought I was crazy for that because when I went through mine, and I was calm and everybody's running like crazy in the hospital because we have rollers. I was trained in the hospital, like all the places out here have rollers underneath things. So it literally,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but the glass was bowed, bowing it, and everything. And then all of a sudden you see
Really?
metal on the hospital thing. It's nice thick metal too, and it's ding like this rubber. I
Whoa,
was like, what
man.
and I was like, and everybody's like, get away from the window. I'm just like, oh, okay, but
Oh, that's funny. But even somebody even had time to say that to you.
yeah,
I guess so. But yeah, I'll never forget that punch. That first, it was
it's
not like, very slow and then built. It was just
like, yeah,
holy, and that was like 10 miles away. You can imagine. Well, they had pictures in the news and the next day, but I can imagine, and the destruction at ground zero
hmm
was just, it was like the worst, like a hurricane or a bomb or something.
yeah,
Wow. So yeah, but it's really funny. It's a different kind of panic. I guess, let's get out of here. Let's get downstairs. Let's go away from here. It's different than any other kind of panic I've ever been involved in. I've been in fires, but they weren't, imminent. It was like, okay, we've got to get out of the building. There's a fire somewhere in the building, but we don't know where.
right,
It's
yeah,
not in my house or in my apartment. Yeah, it's just it was an well, it's an adventure. I guess I should write about it. I'm a writer
right.
now.
That would be a really good because that would go into history, a historical piece, because
Yeah, and it's
oh,
called it's a famous earthquake. It's called the
yeah,
1997 blah 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 earthquake. It's in northern California. Was it? No, it was in Southern California. Well, but in California history, it's historical. It's famous
yeah, I would
because
have
of the
to do that.
damage that it did. You know.
Yeah, I mean now it's recorded, so like the your portion of the story too, so you would
Well,
have
yeah.
that.
So but see, now here's the other thing about books. Then it becomes a historical
Right,
genre. So now
exactly.
I've written, because every time you change genres, there's humor, there's drama, there's murder mystery, there's horror, all those different genres, memoir. So I've written
Yeah,
a memoir, which is a genre all to itself. I didn't know that when I wrote it. I thought it was a book. No, it's not a book. It's a memoir. It's a genre. So you got memoir. That's that guy. That's my life in show business, which is a
right.
cautionary. It's a cautionary tale. It's like
Okay.
a little, very subtle warning about, oh, you want to be an actor, huh? Okay, well, here's what it's really like. And
Right.
it's not major, but it's a cautionary tale. It's funny. It really is. Because I didn't understand anything. I thought, well, you're being an actor, You memorize lines and you go and you act and you get applause and you become famous. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. No, that's not how it quite works out. Yes, if you're Brad Pitt, that's exactly how it works. But we're all not Brad Pitt. So,
Or Adam Sandler.
or anything, Adam Sandler or
Yeah.
anybody. I mean, it just, so, okay, so that's a memoir. And then I wrote another one, which is a funny fiction, like a satire. a couple of short stories, a collection of short stories. But that was a fiction. But now there's humorous fiction, and then there's satire, which is different than humor. I mean, it took me 2 years to learn all the declinations and different kinds of, distributors, agents, managers, genres, parts of the country, bookstores. Just, I don't know. It's just crazy. Publishers. So it took me 2 years to learn all and then you have to learn the jargon of, I'm not a reader, which makes it hard to be a writer.
Quite interesting. No,
Yeah, yeah. So I
like,
have to talk about making it up. I
yeah.
have to make up the fiction and the knowledge of what writing is really like. So I read a lot of good books, before I sat down. I read a really lot of books. I mean, I did some due diligence. I mean, I wasn't totally naive, but
Right.
I was still, I didn't realize how much different it was than acting. Acting took me about, I mean, in Hollywood, movies, TV, um, and voiceovers, which is not fame inducing, but it pays the rent. Just you go in. The great thing about voiceovers, like commercials, voiceovers, and things like that, is you can just go dressed the way you are. See, that's like the upside. Nobody tells you about that, but it's really a great perk that say, oh, voiceover, okay, 2:30, and what? It's 1 o'clock now. Sure, I'll be there. Yeah, okay, no sweat. You don't have to rehearse anything. You don't have to change your clothes. You don't have to memorize anything. You just walk in. They give you a script. They give you a microphone, and they go, and you read it. It's a minute, or even if it's a background for a movie where you're doing blah 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 crowd, where you just
Wow.
and you just and if it didn't work out, if you're bad, it's tape. Let's do it again. You know, it's only a minute for commercial, or even if it's a walla walla, they call it walla walla. If you're doing crowd noises, background noises, it's walla walla. Or they say butter and toast. You say
That's it.
two words. You say butter and toast, butter and toast, butter and toast, butter, and if everybody says that, nobody's doing it at the same time. It just sounds like people talking. They don't. You can't hear exactly what it is.
Well,
So
shoot, I need to get into the voiceovers.
say that again.
I said, I need to get into the voiceovers then.
Well, yeah, that's what I did. That's what paid my rent until I became a regular. I could get auditions kind of regularly, so I could just pay the rent by being an actor.
Yeah.
Just a straight actor in movies and TVs. But then, you're only doing small parts, but it paid the rent. That was the important thing. But it's a lot of work. You have to memorize stuff, auditions to be an actor. You have to memorize. That's it's the only thing you can really control in acting. You memorize it at home, you do it your way, nobody's telling but then when you go to the audition, then they tell you stuff, well, do it again, but
There's always a but.
always, yeah, always, but do it again, but do it my way. And then you got to
Yeah.
instantly change. So that's and then getting there. And I'm dyslexic, which makes it memorization very hard. I mean, there's workarounds, and if I have
Yeah.
enough time, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I can do it. It's not like I can't do it. I can do it. It just takes me longer. So what I had to do, what I got permission to do, was my agent got it for me. As part of the contract, part of my contract, they have to send me well, it wasn't have to. If they don't, there's nothing I can do about it. But they have to send me my part earlier than everybody else, or at least as early as the earliest person who was getting it, like the producers or the director. I'd have to get the finished script, my part, with them. And then the lesser people get it as they make changes or as you go down the pecking order. So, like in the beginning, when I was just a background actor or just had a small part, maybe three
Mhm.
lines, then they can wait until the day before your audition before they send it to you. It's 3 lines. So in other words, people don't want to rush on their end.
Right,
So
yeah.
it becomes a pecking order of when the scripts are sent out, but mine has to be sent out with the producers so I had enough time, and I'm dyslexic and it's hard for me to memorize, but I always had enough time to memorize it because they always sent it to me early. But then as I got really older and my hair started to turn gray, the lag time got longer, because the dyslexia, I've been dyslexic all my life.
Right,
But
yeah.
you work it out, and there's ways of doing it. And I think part of it is a learned disability, not an endemic. I guess that's not a biological dyslexia, but I had a very bad family life growing up, so it affects how you think about things. And I think one of the
So
my
was it
father
trauma?
tried to teach me memorization. It
Oh,
didn't work.
that's my
He,
problem
he
too.
Yeah, well, he used threats and violence to teach me. It's
Yeah.
not a good learning method. It's kind of
No,
doesn't
not at
work.
all.
Not at all.
More
I mean, not violent, but wham, one of those. Read faster, memorize it faster. Boom. So I would learn tricks to fool him, but it didn't help my learning to learn. It kind of
Yeah.
interrupted that. So yeah, but as my hair grew longer, I just said, "The hell with it! I'm going to become a writer. I don't need this." I mean, the lag time and the pressure got more and more to learn the lines. If not for the audition, sometimes you can read it. I've done that where I'll just read it with somebody. But when it got like Breaking Bad,
Mm,
um, and acting with Bryan Cranston,
okay.
and I would go up on my lines. I would forget my lines, and it started to, he'd say, "Hey, Larry, Bryan Cranston." I mean, I was in awe of Bryan Cranston, and Breaking Bad, and Vince Gilligan. I mean, it was just all nerves, just nervous
Yeah.
actor. Like I've been an actor for, you know, 30 years, even longer. But when I was confronted with Vince Gilligan, Bryan Cranston, and Breaking Bad, when I went on the set, I was like nervous, like a young man, like a kid.
I bet.
Yeah, and then I started to go up on my lines. And when Bryan Cranston said, "Hey, Larry, get your lines down," whoa, that was like it was like Moses telling me to, "Hey, get your shit together, Larry." Whoa,
Yeah.
okay, okay, yeah. Well, I did, but I mean, he had to tell me. I guess that shot of adrenaline. Oh, he told me, got my head together, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's why I just gave it up and I said, well, I'll go writing. But how's photography? I mean, and videography. How's that learning curve? Have you been a
I'm
photographer all your life? I mean, wanting to be take
um
photographs?
it well, I have mental health disabilities that kind of all my life, like I got hit with a lot of trauma as well. So like the memory, I get it, and I have a mild brain damage, but I loved acting and all that stuff. But now I'm into it. Like 6 years ago, I started photography, but I've always, had an artistic mindset,
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So I like, so I just could never do it, and all the stuff like physically or whatever it had to be. So now I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me try this and try that. And, so
Yeah,
broadcasting is new, and videography. I started with my camera. I came here to Alaska like 6 years ago for the second time. And I was like, I got to be smarter than the device. Like I have
right,
no,
yeah.
like with you with the dyslexia, I'm like, what the heck? It takes me hours and hours just to get a sewing machine to work. And I'm like, I'd rather
Right,
do it by hand,
exactly.
Like,
But you work it out. I mean,
and so,
or you just don't do it. You just, "No, I'll never sew again."
yep.
There's certain things that I just avoid, and so that's like a workaround. I don't. But but the thing with me is, I never wanted to be an actor. That was never a dream. Like at least you thought about photography before you.
Perfect.
But I didn't even. I mean, I was just dragged. Hey, you want to be in this movie?
Yeah.
Now. You don't have to say anything, just get in the mood. And they said, well, and I thought, oh, this is kind of fun because I thought, well, that's what acting is. Just now, and you don't have to do anything. I mean, that's not how it works at all. But it was my
Right.
first time, and I thought, well, okay, I'll do this. And then I was just hooked into it. Again, the rent thing. It all revolved around rent. So I didn't have time to learn anything. I was like
Yeah.
learning on the job. I needed to pay rent. I needed shelter. So I would just, work at it to memorize it or do it right or get the job or whatever it was. But
Yeah. Get that
but
2 seconds
photography
in.
is pretty cool, by the way. I mean, I could be a photographer. I mean, I like that. That's kind of cool. What kind of camera do you have?
It's
I mean, do one or do you
I have a
use your
7.
iPhone?
Oh, nope, I don't use iPhone. I'm an Android user. Kill me.
What's
But
the difference between an iPhone and Android? I mean, I don't know. What's the difference? Do they look the
to
same?
me, every iPhone that I no, definitely not. They're Android for me is a lot to use. Um, and I don't have to pay for so many apps or whatever. And then and my phone never breaks. Like every time I got an iPhone, it broke. Like it never
Yes, it
failed
does.
for a
Well,
certain day.
you drop it or something, but yeah, mine
Yeah, but I
too.
mean, yeah, it didn't matter what it was. It just broke. And I was like, well, Android it is.
But does it
We'll
look
go
like?
with.
I mean, I don't even know what it looks like. What does an Android look like?
Um, I mean, I got that. Let me see.
Oh,
Like
well, it
that new
looks like
one.
I mean, it looks like a smartphone.
Yeah,
It
it's a
looks like it.
smartphone. It's a lot easier to for me. Like I don't a lot less headache for me to have to do extra steps to do stuff.
Well,
It's
you
like,
know
all right,
what?
we'll download the app.
I think I'm an Android. I'm a secret Android owner. I mean, I'm not. I don't own. I own an iPhone, but it really there's too many
Mm,
things, to work out. I think I would enjoy an Android phone much better. I didn't know what they were.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, no.
now I do, but yeah, because I mean, even the internet is way beyond my ken.
Oh,
I mean, being Zoom, I can handle certain, but the apps that I have on this internet, half of them I don't use because it's too much time involved in figuring it out and stuff like that.
yeah, the kids
I
got
know.
that for me. I'm like, this is what it is at this point.
Well, it's like, well, welcome to the wonderful world of old people. I mean,
Thanks.
I mean, every time, yeah, because I'm an elder. So now, here's the thing about, I guess, evolution. Young people, I'm talking about 15 years. That's when I say young, that's what I'm talking about, 15, 16, 14. If any elder person We know this. A lot of other people don't, but people with gray hair know this. If you have to fix or you can't figure out your iPhone, get a 15-year-old. They
Yep.
got it down. And here's the thing about evolution. 15, the younger these people, the younger humans are, the more patience they have with old people not figuring out new stuff. I mean, if I ask like a 30-year-old, I can't figure out this on my iPhone, they get really like, I don't have time. I don't have time. You
Yeah.
know,
Like,
or they'll do it, but you know, grudgingly. And, well, you're old, okay, blah blah blah. But young people, man, yeah, sure, man, blah blah blah. Here, you know, you need anything else? Blah blah blah. I mean, they really. I mean, so I understand grandchild, grandfather. I understand now that relationship. They're on the
yeah.
same. They're on the same track, man.
Yeah.
Or as the case may be. Um, yeah, they understand each other. There's uh, there's a lot of things that young people have to figure out and ask their parents. I guess that memory of asking somebody who's older, "Hey, Dad, how do you do this?" Or, "Hey, Dad, can you help me with this?" Or, "Mom."
Yep.
Okay, so it's an elder. Okay, they help me. I'll help them. But mid-range, man, the middle class of age, there's really a lot of
Uh,
trouble, man. I don't have too much
uh,
truck with them. I mean,
yeah, I
I mean,
agree. I hang out with the elders. Like, I was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what?
the elders are fine, man. They just get it. And even if they don't get it, they
Uh,
don't mind
like, I
not
mean, they do
getting
have their drama, and I've seen it in the old folks' home, right? Like, I'm like, it is what it is.
it.
I'm
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. It is what it is. you know, I just discovered that a couple of weeks ago. You know, because you know, I have a friend who's my age, who gets bothered by everything. You know, I mean that elders get bothered by. You know, small stuff. You know, oh goddamn, why don't they do that? You know,
yep.
oh man, I don't like the way they. Oh, I would, you know, his car or whatever. And so I get the. I think I'm a little ahead of him, or I've got more control of myself and my temper, I guess. I don't know. But he just complains about everything. And I see, but all he has to do is, well, first of all, it is what it is. That's what I told him the other day. I didn't say is what it is, but I said, you know, if when you get older, there's certain things that comes with it. I mean, it's
Mhm.
part of life. It's not like you caught a bad memory. No, there's no pills you can take. It's no, as you get older, things start to like not be as important. Maybe look at it that way.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's not just not that important. Don't worry about it. It's cool. You know, you're okay. You know, there's other things, you know. Get an ice cream cone. Why don't you get an ice cream cone? Just calm down. Something, anything. But
absolutely.
so that's what I'm starting to write about is my battle with the middle class of age. It's about, I guess, like about it started to disappear like to my mind in the 20s, in the 23, 24, and then it's you either get it or you don't around I in the 60s when you get to be 60. So between 60 and 25 is the people I write about. You know, I mean, like I like to poke at them. Satire, you know, humor. I just
Yeah.
uh because a lot of writers, if it takes them say a year to write a book, I would say that at least a couple of months of that year is just trying to figure out what to write about. I mean, once you get that, the rest is easier. It's not easy, but it's easier than coming up. And sometimes writers, because I now talk to writers, try to, get that kind of vibe. Uh, yeah, they spend there's a lot where they're not writing, they're not doing anything, and I can't figure out, well, then what do they just don't care about writing, and then suddenly they sit down and boom, the ideas come? No, it's kind of a slow thing, you just live a life. I guess that's the important thing, which I guess as an elder, I think is really good, just life management. Is writers just, if you want to write, you don't write, you live a life. Live a life, and you got shit to write about. And if
Yeah.
you're just thinking about trying to write something, you're not living a life. You're trying to think, and that's not worth writing about, thinking about writing. And that's
So would
very
that,
hard. I'm sorry.
sorry, would that go with I was always taught to write what you know?
Well, yeah, but you don't know anything if you're writing. Writing is just dumping, man, just dumping. And then there's editing, which is real writing. There's thinking about, they're just living a life. That's just, go have, eat, drink, be merry, whatever, live, love, life, boom, ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. And then, suddenly say, oh, wait, this I could write about. I could write about this. Okay. So then you sit down and you start writing, and it'll slowly come, and you're writing. And you just get it out, just dump it out, get whatever is out. It doesn't matter, man. I don't know what a blank page means. I just fill the page. That's all. I mean, it doesn't have to be. Oh, well, you know what, Hemingway? I just, because I try to, read theoretically great writers. So I just read, well, not only the books that they're like Hemingway. Hemingway supposedly is the best writer since Mark Twain. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I couldn't tell. But, if word is out, I love Mark Twain to read, but let me read what what Hemingway wrote about writing. And one of the primary things that came away from this entire book was, the first draft is shit. That's what Hemingway wrote in his book, Why I Write, or How to Write, or his thesis on writing. So, and it turns out to be true. That's not writing. Here's what writing is. It's living a life, thinking about writing, dumping, editing, or some people call it tweaking, but it's really major tweaking. It's editing, tweaking, writing a query letter, getting an agent, and then you're kind of a writer, kind of.
Kind
But
of, just at the beginning.
it's just who needs that? Who needs? Nah, maybe I do now. Well, because there's nothing else to do. I ride my bike, go to the movies, and write, live a life. It's kind of cool, actually. But if you're determined to be a writer, it's very frustrating because of the steps. I mean, just to learn all the genres. Wow, man. I mean, there's millions of books. Somebody said, if you want to get rich at writing, write a book on how to write. Those sell like hotcakes. Everybody wants to be a writer, so they buy a book on how to write. So those are the big bestsellers, how to write a book. It's so crazy.
Actually, maybe you could do that. But that you also said, I was going to say earlier, I think you have your title for that book you want to write is Go Get an Ice Cream. I was thinking about that. I was like, no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually is a good title. It is what it is.
Oh,
Go
yeah,
get an
yeah,
ice
every
cream.
once in a while, yeah, it is a good title. Go get an ice cream. Yeah, an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Well, I'll remember that. Oh, I'll try to remember it. But yeah, other than that, riding a bike is not a bad thing to do either. which I do every day. It's kind of cool. Uh,
I
but
think you would love it up here.
here's a question. I'll ask you because this is an interview, so I can talk about anything. Has
Absolutely.
nothing to do with anything, but it's a question I got. Okay. When I ride a bike, one of the things that I notice, because I take a different route each time, it's either a half hour or an hour. That's what I'm going for, not
Okay.
the route exactly. So I take okay. So I noticed that no matter what route I take around here in Santa Monica, Southern California, there's tree-lined streets. Now, no matter what route I take, the trees on the streets and the shrubbery and the greenery anywhere I go now, where I've been living for 20 years in this area. So it's very familiar with me, this neighborhood. This is the greenest, and I'm talking, there's a vast difference. The greenest trees and shrubberies I've ever seen in the 20 years I've lived here. Now, I
Wow.
pointed this out to other people. I said, have you
Okay.
noticed the trees? And when I look at the leaves on like hedges and trees and stuff like that, they're so healthy that the leaves aren't flat, they're curved. They have a snap to them when you,
Yeah.
that's how, you know,
Al-
vital they are.
Almost like a plastic, like,
Yeah, yeah, and very shiny.
yeah.
In other words, no matter where I look, the shrubbery or the trees are extremely healthy. And it shows in the green. The green is intense on everything. Now, I pointed this out to people. They think, well, is it me or just, my eyes or whatever? And they say, no, it is kind of green. I mean, they kind of wake up. I haven't noticed, but yeah.
Yeah.
My question was, does that is that a sign of anything about, like, say, global warming? Does that is that a foreboding? Is that a sign? Is that like in the Farmer's Almanac, they would say, hey, the trees are really green this year, which farmers say means that. It's one of those kind of signs of nature that
Yeah.
portend a future event. I mean,
Yeah.
or it's just a one-off. Hey, whatever. We're near the ocean, and you never noticed it before. But it's really starting to bug me because I ride my bike pretty regularly, and there's
Yeah.
no street I can go down where that doesn't apply. Wow, these are the healthiest I've ever seen. Wow. But does that strike any kind of note with you? Have you seen any kind of thing that,
Um,
geographically, weather-wise?
I mean, the weather has been a little kooky though. Um,
Well, maybe it's just kooky. Maybe it's just
and
global warming,
it,
period.
that's yeah, that's where I was gonna go with that. Maybe it's just
See,
that.
that's what I kind of thought, but there's no way I can
Me
prove
neither.
it. But hey, man, I watch a lot of I watch news and I watch um uh Nova. Science. I watch NASA, the NASA shows and stuff. The future,
Yeah.
anything to do with the future, but
Yeah.
the not not story future, reality future. And there's a
Right.
lot of things going on now, which I think, oh my God, we're all going to hell in a handbag. And then I'll notice somebody somewhere is, my God, they're working on that. Or somebody has just come up with an answer. Oh my God, they've answered that question that I've had for like 5 years. They finally solved it. I mean, so there's these pockets of, oh my God, it's not all doom, period. It's not all doom. That there's, like every once in a while, some young kid, again, around 15 or 14, that'll just blow my mind. These youngsters, not all of them, some of them are still,
Special.
yeah.
Special.
Exactly. and some are unique. There's
Yeah.
some that are special and some are unique. Now, there's a lot less unique children than there are special children. But
Yep.
every once in a while, I'll come across this unique person, this unique child that has, nothing to do with anything. And it just blow my mind with either his patience or his knowledge or his kindness or her knowledge or kindness or just their awareness of what's going on, not only in his world, but in the surrounding. And or his or their, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
intelligence, just native intelligence. And that's a wonder to me because I, as an elder and as a writer, pretty much have given up optimism. I mean, I just put that
Yeah.
on the back burner. It's what I see if I don't stop and, give myself a mental slap. Hey, wake up. What I see is this is not going well. I'm talking about for Homo sapiens of the planet, you know?
Yep. I
Uh,
think we're all in that situation.
yeah, yeah, right. So
Yeah. What
that's my
happened?
first take, is, and then some kid will, like that earthquake shock, they'll just jar me. He'll say something, or I'll see him with somebody else. I mean, it has nothing to do with me, but I'll be watching. And it just, wow, man, it's not that bad. There must be more kids like that. You know what I was watching? As a fascination. Again, this is, I don't know whether it's a sign or not, but what I great simple. I'm talking about now simple pleasures. Like a sunny day, or
Yeah.
a nice ride, or a nice picture, or well, okay. So what I found is these just really tiny little great pleasures. I ride my bike a half hour away. There's a huge uh, mall, huge mall with a lot of people in it. And it's all outdoors, and and people sitting coffee outdoors and blah, blah. So I like to go there, ride my bike. It's a half hour, and then I ride my bike. So I have a cup of coffee, I sit and I watch. Now, generally, I'll take a book, so I'm up on my reading for writing later.
Mm.
I read a book or something. But the other day, I'm out there, and there's this kid. There's these two kids. Now, that's not my point. They're about 18, 16, 17, 18. They're working on a computer and having coffee, and okay, that's fine. But the kid, the male, it was boy, girl. The kid had a dog, a puppy. I think he just bought it or got it because it was a really young puppy, but old enough as a puppy to be on a leash and go for a walk and go to the mall. So they're working on a thing, but the kid has it tied around his wrist, so he won't drop it. It's just around his wrist, and it's kind of a long leash to this little brown. It looked like an Irish setter puppy. Okay, and I'm watching him, and then I'm watching the dog, and the boy and the girl are not paying any attention to the dog at all, and that's what the
Oh,
dog wants, is
poor puppy.
attention. This little puppy, you know. So he said, and the leash doesn't go to a little flower bed, which is what he wants to get into.
Yeah.
But he's right next to a hedge. So I got so into this little dog, and I'm watching him as he learns what he can and can't do on this leash. Like he went under the chair and around, which shortened his leash by a long shot because it got
Mhm.
wrapped around. So,
Yeah.
10 seconds before he could almost get to the flower bed. And now he can't even get halfway there because he's wrapped up. So I'm thinking, all right, what is he going to do? Because he was working on getting to that flower bed. He'd go back, try to figure it out. And I thought, holy cow, he finally figured out, no, I got to go back and around. And he figured it out. This little puppy figured out how to go back and around and unwind. I thought, that's brilliant for a little dog
A
to,
baby. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And he figured it out. And then when he got back, he said, "Oh no, there's no fucking way I can get over there to that flower bed. I'm going to stick with this hedge right next to this chair." And
Yeah.
he just got into that. Okay, that is only part of, because I go there regularly. So I'm
Mhm.
always watching something, when I'm not reading. And the day before, a whole bunch of women were together talking, and each one had a child. So I guess it was a regular thing. They met and, took their
Right.
kids for a walk. So one of them had a really young kid. So and he was sitting in his own chair, and he had a sippy cup, a little cup with a straw.
Yeah.
And she gave it to him because he was very nervous. He was just, and she's like, here, drink this. It was a hot day, so he's drinking it. And then he takes the straw out. So I'm watching the kid. What I'm watching, I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is it that's the same with the dog and different children that age? So he must have been like 4 or 5, I think. And I've done this with other kids, but I think, what's the attraction? What am I watching? What am I watching? So, oh, I'm waiting for each kid and the dog to put one and one together and come up with two. Learning. I want to see when they learn, the moment they learn, the moment the dog figured out, no, I got to go back to the chair and back around. It just, it's like a bunk, I don't know where it comes from. But the kid was doing this. He pulled the straw out, and that's when he hooked me. He was trying to put it back in the hole that he took out of the cup. And man, that's all he wanted to do, just like the dog wanted to get to the flower thing. And then he would work with, no, the cup is in the wrong place. Now there was water in the cup or something in the cup, so he might spill it. I mean,
Right.
he's young enough to spill it all over himself. But he figured that out, that no, if I tip it over, it'll spill. So he balanced it, and man, and I guess he was there, and he had me hooked for a good 10 minutes at least, trying to figure out how to get the straw. And what he could figure out, which I thought was kind of brilliant in itself, is what didn't work. That he did figure that out. Like if I put the cup here, it would kind of tilt over. It would be easier if I just balanced it right there. Now I can just figure out with the straw, because he had to figure out what to do with both. Get
Right.
this straight and this straight and get them together. So if he put the cup down, okay, got it. Now he just concentrated
Yeah.
on this, you know. Man, it was just, and then a couple of days before that, I had focused on a little kid trying to figure something else out. His mom or the parents were off doing talking. Yeah, it's learning is really the moment of learning when you put one and one together and you go, oh, the cup, if I just put it right here, I don't have to worry about it so much. Just that
Yeah.
for a 4 or 5 year old kid. Yeah, those kinds of things, and the dog, and the the 22 to 60, that they stopped learning. That's what I learned. They don't. They
Right.
either get it or don't. And what it's called then is research. To and the people who are the worst at anything also are the worst at research, which is getting enough information to put one and one together, you know? And
Yeah.
the way humans and dogs and animals do it but we've learned another way, because I'm also reading Sapiens, which is a great book on Homo sapiens and where we come from and how we how we learn or not learn and where we go off the learning curve and just become stupid again. You know. Um, yeah, so
Literally.
I can that's what I do for writing. That's like living.
Yeah. Oh
That's like
yeah, okay, yeah. Wow, man.
well, I mean, you can do that anywhere. I mean, I guess that's why children are so important. The family structure,
Hmm.
because I don't, my family structure was non-existent.
Mine
So
too.
so when I went over to a friend's house, it just blew my mind with having dinner at their table. And they ask questions and they're talking. I mean, my dinners were silent or shut up or, give me that or pass the salt. That was about it, you know. And I would go to a friend's house to have dinner, and this is wow, nobody got hit. Everybody, there was some jokes going around, you know. And the moms and the dads did their moms and dad things, you know. It was hardly like my mom would hardly sit when because she was all she did was serve, cook and serve. That's what she did. And my father, was
Yeah.
served and was cooked for. There was no, that was it, man. That was dinner. We'll all be served. And there's no conversation, shut up or, oh, I think, how is school today? I mean, I don't want to talk about that.
I just got out, man.
Yeah, right.
Got out of prison.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know. There's so much to learn. There's so much to figure out. Uh,
yep.
I guess what I'm trying to do, and that why I was attracted to writing, is most of my life, maybe because of dyslexia or to learn dyslexia, is most of my life I didn't do any research or read. I depended on learning on the job
Yeah.
because I figured out if I just like jumped in the water and because that's how my father taught me to swim, throw you in and swim or drown, you know. And then
Guilty.
if I got started to drown, he'd pull me out. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, the drowning thing was I didn't want to go near water, and when I got older, I overcame. Got on the swimming team, so I got over it. But that's the kind of learning that you don't want to learn with. So yeah, as a young person, I never did that, and I found out I was stupider than everybody else. I just I would ask a lot of questions, and then when you get to like 22 or 23, people don't like to. Why don't you just I don't know, just go. They don't like to help you out if you're
Yeah.
behind the line or whatever. But
I
now
have.
I've learned to know I'm into learning. So I guess that's the fascination with little kids because their learning is so obvious.
Yeah.
I guess that parents, I guess that's the upside of parenting. Because the downside I've seen, I've raised kids, changing diapers. I mean,
That's a coordination
it's
itself.
well, what can I learn from this? But then when it wasn't my kid, it was my girlfriend's kid. But
Hmm.
when that kid, when he would blow my mind when he would learn something because learning was new to the adult Larry. I was in my
Yeah.
20s and 30s. To see a little kid actually learn the moment of learning, putting you know, it, wow, this kid must be a genius. No, no, that's what children do, man. That's what
Mhm.
any kid does. It's adults that don't learn anymore.
Yeah.
They just stop reading. They stop learning. A good example is the election in America. You up there.
Hmm.
I mean, in the Well, I guess even up there, I don't know how it works, but down here, the people that I don't respect are the people who are stupid. They're not really stupid. They're just as smart as I am. They're just unlearned, no research, no new information, not enough information.
Right.
But when an entire species stops learning because there's no reason to learn anymore. I mean, this is getting into my writing now. Then that's a bad learning curve for a species. I mean, I don't, I think I'm going to get out just in time. You know, I mean, if you have children, I don't know how old you are, but if you have children, they're going to have a tougher time than you or me. And
I
I
agree.
think it's the 20s to the 50s that are doing it. There's not much learning in the United States anymore. I think we've
No.
gotten lazy because I watch television. The commercials are just geared towards the lowest common denominator, man. I mean, as an actor, musicians, when they hear a bad note, they kind of wince,
Yeah.
because it bothers them. It's disturbing to hear a clunker, a clam. Well, as an actor, when I watch television and I see an actor in commercials or even in a sitcom or movie of the week or whatever, when I see bad acting, when I see an actor not being, but acting, I wince. It's like a clam. It's like I look away. Oh man. Uh, you know, and now when I see an unlearned man, you don't know have you ever read or have you ever seen or did you see this or did you know that? And then they go, No, I want to go, I want to, why don't you know this?
Yeah, me too. Cause I'm like, just don't come at me with just one little thing. If you're gonna go, like, for
Yeah.
instance, against the Bible, read the Bible, then come back at me
Yeah.
and then say, you know what I
You know
mean?
what the
Have
Bible is? I'm not religious at all. I'm against religion. And I say that because the Bible is just a self help book. If you read it, what do you think? Jesus was stupid? Jesus knew what he was talking about. He's just saying cool things. I mean, what? Jesus is wrong? Who? What? What did he say wrong? Nothing. But it has nothing to do with religion. He's just saying cool things. Just listen to the guy. So a Bible to me is just like another self-help book. Talk about self-actualization. Rising from the dead is a pretty cool actualization of self. I mean, there's not, it's here's what I got it down to. Jesus threw the money changers out of the church, right? That's what we're taught. Jesus threw the money changers out of the church. That's not the rest of the story. That's not the whole story. I'll give you the rest of the story. So the money changers bought the church and threw Jesus out. That's it. That's the way I look at it. Jesus is fine. What came after him is just a bunch of, I mean, the church must be the richest corporation in the world. And if it's not, it's right up there. What would Jesus have to say about the money changers of the church? I wonder. But he's gone. And he's, not coming back as far as I know, or I won't be around when he does. So, but it's in other words, all religion get down to the same thing. It's belief and be your better self. I mean, there's no religion who doesn't say that. even the Houthis, somewhere say, yeah, but if you do this, you're a better person. You know, but look at the we cause climate change, and if if we're ever attacked by spacemen, booga booga booga, we're going to have to defend the planet. Lions and tigers aren't going to defend the planet. They don't have the power that we do, the weapons. We are going to have to defend the planet. So that means we own it. We own the planet. So we're causing climate change. There's no now. A lot of people say, well, but climate change happens every 2, 3, 10,000, 200,000 years. This is natural. No, yeah, climate change does happen, but it happens so gradual, species can keep up with it. They can evolve as the climate changes. But we're causing it to go faster. We can't evolve as fast as the climate is changing because we're making it go fast. I mean, hey, man, now I'm preaching to the choir, But anyway, that's where my writing is going. I just have to make it funny. That's nobody. If I mean, we're talking here, you can edit all this stuff out, or you can leave it in. It doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter to the big picture, because nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Really. I mean, they know what everybody, I guess, I think knows it. They just have to feed their family. They have to get through today and find a safe place to sleep tonight. That's what it's boiled down to. And we've forgotten that thing. I think, I don't know. Anyway, what else can we talk about?
Oh no, I was kind of admiring your artwork in the background. Did you
Oh,
do
yeah,
that?
yeah. That's my
That's
painting.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why I also like to do that. That's really what I like to do. But I see, now if I wanted to sell them, I'd have to start from scratch and query letters and find out genres and stuff. What sells? What sells is not what you or I like. It's what people, which is very undefined, what people buy. And in other words, if I write a screenplay, I write what I think would be a good screenplay. But that's not what the people who buy screenplays like.
Right.
They are going, and they have the same plan. They have the same Bible. The same, if you want to do, did you just see that?
Yeah, I did. And
Those
we didn't do
hearts.
anything. Yeah, that
Where
was
did
just
it come from?
random. I have no idea.
That was
Like,
weird, man.
yeah.
Uh,
It's like I
well,
kind
but
of want
but
hearts
they
too.
don't. Yeah, no, I can't do it again. I don't know.
Huh. That was weird.
But nobody has the same. You have to get down to their level.
Yep.
That what I was just talking is at very few people's level. It's not very intelligent. It's just not where people's. It's just like memoirs. Memoirs are the least selling books. This is a fact I found out by being in the book world. Memoirs are the least selling of all the genres. Now, if you want to write a bestseller, that's not what you write. So that's just a piece of trivia that would help you write a best-selling book. If you wanted to write a best-selling book, but you didn't do research, you just wrote, maybe you'd write a memoir. That's what I did. I didn't do any research. I just wanted to write a book, so I wrote a memoir. And then when I tried to sell it, everybody told me in the book world, what'd you write a memoir for? That's like the least selling book. You know how hard it is to sell memoirs? Why don't you write an action adventure? Why don't you write a woman's love story? Do you know that women buy 80% of all the books sold? on earth, not just in America, on all the countries put together.
Huh.
80% of all books sold on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, all over the world, 80% women. Here's another fact. The entire book industry is owned and run by women. The entire book industry. Now, all you have to do to prove me wrong, but you won't be able to, is just go on the internet and look for an agent, look for a publisher. Publishers are run by men, but that has nothing to do with book business. You want an agent and you want you want um, Little Brown, Random House, those publishers. But those publishers are maybe about 25 or 30, Dutton, blah, blah, blah. Those are the books that sell most, and they publish it and they, send it. But other than that, everything else is owned by women. All the agents are women, all the managers are mostly women. All the
Oh,
agents are pretty much women. I mean, every once in a while you run into a man. Managers, I'd say 60, 70% are women than men. But you don't know that until you do research. And then once you do research, you start saying, oh, well, if that's a given in books, then what's the
right.
actual written books? Okay, covers, covers, query letters. Query letters after women, and 80% is the query letter. Has nothing to do with what you wrote. They won't even go near what you wrote until you write a great query letter. So you got to get into query letters. I mean, but that's only, I learned all this stuff and more about the book business. It took me 2 years. I started from zero. I mean, I really didn't know anything. It was like running a submarine would be the equal amount of knowledge I had to how to write a book.
Wow.
And it took me 2 years of asking questions and finding friends, and a lot of friends who are not into books didn't want to help me. What if, I don't know, go somewhere else. I mean, what who knows? Big deal. I mean, they were into acting. So yeah, and nowadays I guess we're all, except children and young anything, young
Hmm.
dogs, young cats, young beetles, young birds, they're into learning. I mean, that's part of their DNA. They gotta learn. It's part of their heartbeat. But then it's just knocked out. See, here's another thing that I kind of think, but I can't prove it, is I think everybody is born some kind of genius. You're born with what you require. And what you require is way more than what you use. But you're born with what you require. And as you grow through parenting, schooling, and the world and your species, it's very slowly kicked out of you, slapped out of you, shamed out of you, or just denied access to the information to you. And so by the
Yeah.
time you get into your 20s and 30s, unless you fought really hard, like somebody like Picasso or Bob Dylan, or even Taylor Swift, the Bob Dylan of our generation, uh, but But you can put her down. But what she's got, and what I'm talking about, is she knows what she's doing. She knows who she is. May not, I don't, I don't care about Taylor Swift, but a lot
Right.
of
Yeah.
children do. But to remain and continue to write at her level, you've got to do more than just shrug your shoulders and think, I'll learn on the job. She learned on the job when she was like 15 and 14. That's when she was just, duh, blah, 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 play guitar. By the time she got famous, she had put in her dues, paid her dues. But I mean, I'm talking about Picasso. I'm also talking about Dylan. I'm talking about George Carlin. I'm talking about Albert Einstein. They all paid their dues, man. And paid their dues means you can never stop learning. I mean, and this is new stuff. I'm not like I didn't know this all my life. I just picked this up in the last year or two, what I'm telling you now.
Mhm.
So I lived most of my life talented but stupid. And then, and I can I have proof of that, the stupid part. Because there's a lot of people that I can talk to now that I couldn't talk to back then because, oh man, have you ever had that? Oh, that's what oh, that's what he meant.
10
That
months later,
epiphany.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
epiphany. Oh, that's what he was talking about.
And then
Well,
you want to go back and say something like, oh,
right.
so
Well, I do that from years back. I'll be watching something or reading something, like a really good book,
yeah.
that you should read. And I'm reading a good book, and in the book it'll say, oh, and then I go, oh, that's 10 years ago. He was talking about this. Oh my God. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And that little dog and the little babies and the children, they do it not 10 years ago. They do it within a minute to an hour. I mean, that kid, because I had to leave or the mom had to go somewhere, it was interrupted. But eventually he'd find how to put the straw in the hole.
Oh, he got it,
So,
huh?
well, I mean, no, I had confidence that how the kid was learning. In other words, you don't just learn, as I found out from watching children and animals learn. The
Yep.
dog didn't just try to reach the flower bed and then go, no, wait a minute, I got to go back around and unwind it and then go. No, he tried a lot of different ways of getting to the flower bed before he came to the fact that, well, maybe if I just go back and in here. So he went in there and totally forgot about the flower bed. And then just, and then remembered the flower bed, but went out the right way. It unwound one. He went back to, he said, oh, it's a little longer now. So he got that. And then he went back and, wait a minute, let me do that again. Oh, so in other words, his building, it was piece by piece, but it one pit fit and he kept it. He forgot
Hmm.
all his other moves, but he remembered, no, if I go back this way and in this way, somehow I got to the flower bed faster. I don't think he was thinking flower bed, leash, chair, unwind. He
Right.
was just putting moves together. This. Oh, closer, this. Same thing with the kid. Before he learned to balance the cup on his knee so it wouldn't slosh over, it took him a while to figure out where he could put it so he didn't have to use both hands to balance everything all at once. So
Right.
so his learning curve was very short. Oh, just balance it that way, and now I only have to work with this. And I was watching him for 10 minutes. So when she interrupted and said, we're going home now, I figured, no, if she left him alone for another 10 minutes, he would eventually get the. You could see he was putting things together on a regular basis. His brain had said, no, you're getting closer. That's what his brain was saying. You're getting closer. Yeah, you got the cup down. Now all you got to do is figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And right
so
there, that
yeah,
kind of reminds me of life where, like you said, interrupted when mom interrupted on that crucial time. and he could have had extra minutes, and figured that out. We could have
Right.
had that
So but in
erupted.
life, we interrupt ourselves. We get bored faster
Yep.
than the kid. See, the kid wasn't bored at all. I mean, if it took me that long to figure out how to get a straw in the cup, in the lid hole, I quit. Oh, fuck it, man. Take the take the cup and throw it and just drink the cup. You know, if
Yeah.
I wanted to drink, the hell with the straw, hell with the lid. We get bored with the learning process, research. So from 25 to 60, hardly any, and I don't blame them because the excuse really is, look, man, and I've heard this from adults. I've heard it. Look, I have 2 kids, a wife, and a mortgage to take care of. So you do your research, you go experiment, but I got to go to work and pay and raise people. I don't have time for this research. Did you read the book?
Yeah,
Did you
and
see that movie? No, I don't have enough money to buy the book. I don't, in other words, other things get in the way of species. You
yeah,
get down to practicality. Practicality, I'm making this up, but I think it's right. Practicality has nothing to do with species. Species has, you know, like Indians, American Indians, teepees, Mother Earth.
simple life.
You don't, you pay attention to nature and the bigger picture and your
Yeah.
species, and the tribe raises the kids, and okay. And, now there's deficits. You have tribal warfares and stuff like that. So again, that's not species furthering. But I guess when it gets down to that, yeah, we got to say, well, you can't murder people and you don't steal because that's part of species. You see animals fighting over food. I mean, so, but our consciousness, which we brought to the table, gets in the way of making furthering decisions, furthering the
Yep.
species. Carbon dioxide and smoke is bad for the species, but we don't make that connection. We just say it's bad for the neighborhood. We'll move to another neighborhood where there's not that much smoke. But we don't do anything about it. We don't complain. We just move. It's always another. See, in the old days, there was always someplace else to go. Now I'm afraid to move. I mean, really, I want to move, but where? Because I watch Nova and the news and they see climate change is destroying a lot. I mean, I just watched before I tuned in to you. So
Hmm.
this morning, I was watching the news and they saw in I don't know, Afghanistan or one of those small, out of the ways mountainous European countries. There was a
Uh-huh.
town, there was very picturesque because the photographer, the cinematographer, the newscaster was on another mountain, video across the valley to another town that was built on a mountainside. So it was built up the mountainside.
Oh,
Yeah. And as we were watching, and because this was news, we just saw very
yeah.
slowly, like this, very slowly, the mountain. It was a mountain slide, a landslide. But there was a
Mm.
town built on the landslide. And you just saw a town slide down the mountain and be destroyed. An
Wow.
entire town buried. People are living in those houses. They had no warning. Well, maybe they did because you could see the cinematographer knew, wait a minute, that's going to give way. I mean, he was waiting for it to happen.
Just randomly caught that. Like that wasn't even a
No, yeah, it wasn't like, oh,
wow.
look over there, and you quickly, go with the thing. No, he just was waiting and waiting, and why are we? This is a newscast. What's the news?
Yeah.
He just, and then suddenly you just see it, just kind of the mountain just kind of
Oh,
jerked
it's
a little, and then it was very slow. It's not like it was
that's
just
scary.
holy cow, and it just went that slow. And you just see houses just start to slide and then crumble into it. And they did
That's
this, and they did that because this was a breaking news story. They started to show a couple of other countries where this was happening. So it wasn't just a one-off that I was watching before I got on with you. It
hmm
was, I saw 3 towns destroyed and a road and a sidewalk cave in.
wow.
And I also watched, this is another thing I watched, was again, the cameraman was waiting. So there was enough time for maybe, hopefully, people to get out of these. This time, he was standing on, there was a road here, but then there was a road here,
hmm
and then there was a road here. So he was standing on this road. And then there was a little dip, and there was houses here. And very slowly, we watch as the houses start to sink beneath the ground. I mean, they were just going under the ground, just like you see sometimes that those holes that just go like that, and down in Florida,
Yeah.
a sinkhole. It was
Yep.
just like there was a sinkhole beneath the town, beneath this street. It was a street,
Wow.
a road, and houses on the road, and they were just slowly going into a sinkhole. And and all you could think of is there a person in that building? Any people? Did they
That's
get out in time? And that's what the announcer was saying. Well, I hope they got it out in time. The camera was waiting, so obviously they knew this was going to happen. So I'm thinking, we're doing this. Homo sapiens are causing climate change. Climate change, now, it's not stopping climate change, it's just speeding up the time between climate changes. That's what
mhm.
we're doing.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
not causing climate. I mean, we're not causing every climate change. We're just making them quicker together because a lot of houses, well, up north. See, now that's what I was asking you. A lot of houses up north in Alaska, and I've seen this. Again, it's newsworthy, and I can watch it. Up in Alaska, or up where there's no snow, a lot of places now the tundra is starting to melt, which is just frozen dirt.
Yep.
Well, a lot of your houses up there are built on snow, which is on frozen tundra, which is starting to melt. Well, the snow is gone. So the houses are either resting on tundra or they're on stilts.
Yep.
But the tundra is now turning to mud. And so you can see, and they're showing it. So the cameras, our cameramen, video men, are waiting. There's time to set up a camera and wait for it to happen. That's how much knowledge they have. And then you just see a house, you know, or you come back maybe the next day and you see the houses under the
Oh yeah.
ground.
Yeah.
But that's happening. I mean, Eskimos are complaining like crazy. I mean, the whales are moving away. I mean, we eat these things. We hunt these things. You're killing the krill because the oceans are warming. And the krill
The
are
polar
moving to
bears.
colder waters, which is not
Yeah.
around here. So the things that live on krill, like, all the larger animals that
Yeah,
we eat.
polar bears are losing their environment as well out.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So all this stuff. So look, when people in Alaska are talking about losing polar bears, I mean, that's like the worst. That's like a canary in the coal mine on steroids, man. That's
Yeah.
like, I mean, and also birds. We're losing a lot of birds, man.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know, but there must be some happy things I can talk about now that you know, this is a kind of, how long do we have? Oh, it's 12 o'clock,
Oh,
10:30. Yeah, well,
it's up to
I
you.
gotta go. I gotta write a novel here.
Okay. I do have a question though. It is
Okay.
a one of those fan questions.
Yeah.
Prehysteria. All right. That's one of my favorites. Part
What?
two. You were in Prehysteria part two.
I don't, I,
You played the Ketchum, Mr. Ketchum. You were the pest control. Uh pest,
oh man, no, wait a minute. You mean where I went under the house?
was it no, it was the one with the little dinosaurs that were living and then the kid
I don't think I
uh
was in that.
oh you definitely were. No, like
Yeah?
uh oh yeah, you were one of the you were one of the two pest control guys from Catch 'em and Kill 'em.
Wow.
I think you were Mr.
Because
Catch.
generally, the reason why I'm so blown away is, man, so far you're the first podcaster who's brought up something that I've done that I didn't remember. I generally
Really?
remember everything. If you give me enough hints, I'll remember it. But no, that's a complete blank. I don't even remember the name. And the exterminator, something like that.
Yeah, you were Mr. Ketchum. And you
Catch him
got
and
like
kill him. I
smacked
don't
in the head
remember
or
that.
bonked in the head from the maid lady. I can't remember her name. But because she was always on the kid, the rich kid. It was about a rich kid that his dad was always at work and on the phone and he did this. It was little dinosaurs that were like miniature dinosaurs that were living and they found them in a raisin cart or a raisin box and everything and they you had to come in and get rid of them because she couldn't figure out what the heck was in the was she was allergic to.
Right.
And yeah, she was a mean lady. And but I was wondering if
I,
that was
I
all
would I
improv.
would be willing to bet $1 that I wasn't in the movie
Oh,
because
I
I
got a
can't
thousand.
remember it. Only because I can't remember it. I'm betting on my memory, which is kind of flaky to begin with.
Let's
So,
hear it.
but I'll look it up. I can look it up on Wikipedia or something like that. But what's the name of the movie?
Prehysteria Part Two.
Prehysteria Part Two. I don't, wow, I've drawn a blank on that. Well, you should get some sort of prize for stumping Larry. I I don't remember it. Well, what was the question?
Oh yeah, I wanted to know because I was like, I wanted to know if it was all improv on that acting, or was because what the acting with the pest control people did, you guys were just like, you know,
Oh, wait a minute.
completely
Wait a
knocking on
minute.
walls. It was like the
Wait a minute. Yeah, I do
guy.
remember.
Like,
It was two guys. Oh, no, no, no. I wasn't. I was the landlord. So again, no, it wasn't that. No, I don't know.
see if I could pull it up. But yeah, no, it was uh yeah, because it was
Prius, I'll look it up too.
yeah, here, let me see if I can screen share here.
Oh, wait,
Um
you're gonna get there faster than me.
how in the world do I screen share here? Uh, oh, share. Huh? Okay, that's weird. Won't let me share.
Oh no, but you can tell me. But is it
Uh, okay, yeah, it literally says you were Mr. Ketchum because you
Larry
played with
Hankin? It
Kevin
says Larry
Connors.
Hankin?
Yeah, Larry Hankin.
Wow, I don't
Um,
remember that at all.
IMDb, the website IMDb says Prehistory 2. It was Kevin Connors was the kid. Dean Schofield was Mr. Wellington. I don't know if it's Betty or Bet Ackerman. She was Miss Winters. That was the crazy
I
maid
don't
lady.
remember any of those names or any of those, wow.
Mr. Cranston was played by Owen Bush. Giuseppe Andrews was one of the Roughneck leaders. Let's see. Um, yeah, says you were in there.
Okay, I mean, I'll take your word. So, I mean, I believe you, but
When was this?
it's still, that's really weird because after, they tell me a little about it, I can generally remember it, but no.
Yeah, 1994.
Well, that was right before the earthquake, so maybe it
Yeah,
shook it out of me. I don't know. The earthquake was in 97. I don't remember it, but I'll give you this. I have done now, podcasters do research on me, before they talk to me so they know what to ask. And they've told me, several of them have told me that they have researched and found out that I've done 202 movies and televisions.
yeah, that's what I
So,
found too.
so when I wrote my memoir, I only wrote the memoir about 45 of them. The 45 that
Okay,
I knew, I remembered and could remember a good enough story to put in a book.
okay.
So that's why I probably don't remember it. 202, yeah, there's probably a lot I don't remember. But generally, when podcasters look it up, and even though they find 202, they always ask me the ones that are the most popular, and that's the 45 I put in the book. The most popular are the ones I remembered because they were popular. So I don't remember
Like
the ones that
Friends.
are not popular. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Go
Friends
ahead.
would be a good one that would be because I remember you as Friends as the cat
Mr.
guy.
Heckles.
Yep. Like, I love
Mr.
Mr.
Heckles,
Heckles.
the guy downstairs.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm known for that. That's what I'm known for. The other one is Tom Pepper on Seinfeld, the guy who imitated Kramer. And
All right. Yeah. That's been a while since I've seen Seinfeld.
yeah,
You would have made a good Kramer though. Like,
well, I was up for Kramer, but
were you?
yeah, because yeah, I auditioned for Kramer, and so, but I was a friend of Michael Richard. So when because I looked like Kramer, I look like Kramer, the real Kramer. I look
He
like
was actually a real
Kramer
character.
more than I look like Michael Richards. So,
Wow.
so David, Larry David remembered me, and seeing me in other movies, but he knew
Yeah.
Kramer, the real Kramer, Larry David. So he just said, well, let's get Larry Hankin in. He looks like Kramer. Let's get him in, just to audition. So I auditioned for Kramer. But when Michael Richards came in to audition for Kramer, we were friends before that. We had done sitcoms together, me and Michael, way
Mhm.
before Friends was a twinkle in anyone's eye. So, but Michael Richards came in and see, when I do a role, I generally go under. I hold it in and let the audience come to the conclusion. I feed them
Okay.
hints,
Yeah.
but I don't do. But Michael is totally out front, and that's what they were looking for. Somebody that was obvious, the way he comes through the
Yeah.
door. I would never
Okay. Yeah.
come through a door like that. But when he got it, I was very happy for him. One, I thought they got the right guy because they were looking for an over the top guy. And two, is I was very happy for Michael because I knew him and he was my friend. So there was no, oh man, there was none of that at all. I said, great. But then when I watched, so then when in the third season,
Hmm.
when Larry David wrote that there was a guy named Tom Pepper who imitated imitated Kramer, Michael Richards' role, Michael Richards said, well, get Larry Hankin, because he said to Larry David, get Larry Hankin because he looks like me. We've played brothers before. So he would look like me playing Kramer.
Yeah.
And Larry
Okay.
David said, oh, yeah, I auditioned. Yeah, I auditioned him for Kramer. So, yeah, so the Larry David, Michael Richards, and me all agreed on the same thing. Yeah, at least I can imitate Kramer. So what they did was they gave me the production company gave me the real scene that Michael Richards playing Tom Pepper, Kramer, the real Kramer, um, gave me the videotape of the show, the Seinfeld show, where Michael Richards did that scene that I auditioned for. You know, I was playing about the couch, you know, oh, the couch and the pillows are going like this. That was a real
Yeah.
scene that was one of a Seinfeld episode where Michael Richards playing Kramer played that scene. So they gave that to me. They gave me that Seinfeld episode. So I must have watched Michael Richards playing Kramer in that episode minimum of 100 times. Minimum. I just watched it over and over and over and over. First, because of my dyslexia. I just didn't want to, because I really wanted to do it. That's the
Yeah.
only part ever that I wanted to do. I would kill to do it. I mean, that's how much I wanted to do it, because I
Uh,
thought I could ace that, man. I can do this. I don't care about acting or anything else. I just know I can do Tom Pepper. So I went in but I watched that, man, I just days and days. One, because of my dyslexia, and two, because I wanted to get it down perfect. So when I came in to do it, I mean, nobody even came close. So, and I really got it down. Now I've watched me doing that episode, my episode, when I imitated him. And I thought, yeah. And then I watched the Kramer episode, Michael Richards
mhm.
episode. It's pretty close. It's damn good. I think I did a good job, but it's the only thing that I would ever admit. The only thing I would ever admit doing a good job is Escape from Alcatraz. That those two things I would use, and the rest I was just doing my job as an actor. You know, get the character down. Don't imitate. Uh, Kramer, I imitated. That was a straight imitation of Michael Richards. It was like a photograph, a three-dimensional photograph, video. Um, but don't imitate, be, and get your lines down. You know, acting and dyslexia. But for that, man, I just went full blown. I've never worked so hard or meant or it meant so much to me as Kramer. It was
Yeah.
personal. I mean, I had nothing to prove to anybody else. I didn't care if I mean, I wanted the job, but I didn't care if I didn't get it. That wasn't the thing. I was just wanted to do it as perfectly as I could. It's the only time in my life, I think, I've ever, really focused on something where I cared that much about. I cared. That's the whole thing. I cared.
Yeah.
It's very hard to care, you
The
know?
one time you get to carry a year,
Yeah, yeah.
give that care to that day.
Like if you're if your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your significant other is hurt, you don't think about it.
Yeah.
You just care, man. Oh man, it just it's an instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of those for Kramer. I mean, like, so I guess really good actors like De Niro and Bryan Cranston, they can get that up. They can get that caring up where they care enough to do a really great job every time. See, that's an actor to me.
Yeah. Or
I don't
Johnny Depp.
have
What
that.
do you think about Johnny Depp? I
Well,
think,
Johnny Depp, yeah, I mean, his personality, I mean, that's a person. I don't care for him too much. But yeah, he's a good actor. He's not as good as those two, by the way. I think he's good. I'll put him up there. You know, I won't diss him. But those two are another step because the fact that Johnny Depp has personality problems, human being problems, and De Niro, and because I've worked with De Niro, I have. I've auditioned with him
mhm.
and spoken to him, and I've worked with Bryan Cranston. So I know that their humanity, their basic decency is automatically into any characters, even if they're doing a bad person. They do it so well, it's just part of their DNA. And depth doesn't have their depth. Depth doesn't have any depth. They go all the way.
Okay.
I've watched Depp doing serious roles, and he does live it. I mean, he is there. I don't see Depp. I see the character he's playing, which is
Yeah.
great. But um, he's not Al Pacino.
That's a good one.
So there are differences, and I can tell because I am of their ilk. I am an actor. I am not the actor. Those people are, they have gifts, you know,
Yeah. And have you
and they're
worked with,
willing to, excuse, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna ask, have you worked with like back in the day with Lucille Ball and
Yes, I've
Betty
worked with Lucille
White?
Ball. These are all out of the
Ew.
book. You know, if you buy the book, if you get it
I will
cheap or
definitely buy
borrow
the book.
somebody's,
And I want
tell
an
that
autograph.
guy. Oh, okay. Send it to me, and I'll sign it and send it back. People have done that. I've done that,
Okay.
so it's okay. But it's way
Okay.
expensive. But for $5, you can just read it. You can't. I can't sign it because it's just on the internet. But
Yeah.
for $28, you could buy it and send it to me, and you know. But you got to send me a you
That's
know
it.
SASE
I got you.
self-addressed stamped envelope so I can send it back to you.
I
But
got you.
anyway, I have those. But Lucille Ball, I have two stories in there about Lucille Ball. I'll tell one of them. By the way, she's a diva. She's
Is
not the
she?
loose, yeah, but she is not like Depp is a diva. But they're two different kinds of divas. It'll take a while for and she got to be very elderly before she became a diva. She was a pretty good person for 99% of her life. Depp was an a-hole for half of his life, or maybe for most of his life. But as an actor, he's a great actor, you know. I mean, and he's box office, you know, like Adam Sandler. I couldn't care less about Adam Sandler. I don't think he's funny at all. I was in his movies. He asked me to be in other movies. I think he's the one, he's right up there with Depp as far as a personality. He's right up
Oh,
there
that's
with Trump as another personality. I mean, he has within him, because I've watched his serious roles. He's a good actor. Adam
mhm.
Sandler is a good actor. He is not a worthwhile person in the least. I mean, I've talked to him as a human being. He doesn't cut it. But he's got the talent, man. It's just he's deaf, you know. He's um he's not a good guy, you know. Uh, that's the best I could say for him. He's not a good guy. But as an actor, have you seen, what do you call it? Uncut Gems or something like that? One of those movies he's done.
I haven't
He's
seen
good,
those.
man. He's good. Well, it's a serious role. Uncut Gems, I think, is what the name of the movie is. It was his last movie. He did it last year. He's
Oh,
got a
well, I
new
haven't
one.
gotten there
Yeah,
yet.
well, he's got a new movie coming out now. Serious role. See, he doesn't write the serious role. He writes his comedies with a comic writer. He
Yeah.
and they're just bad jokes and still, poop jokes and sexist jokes and you know and just lowest common denominator jokes. But he's a good actor. I'll go to see his serious films because first of all, he doesn't write the film, so I know the writing is better than he writes. But also, he's got something to sink his teeth into because the writing is
Yeah.
so good. Therefore, generally, the guy who wrote it is directing, so he can't get away with his stupidity. He does the job. He 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 does what he's asked to do, which is tell the story,
Hmm.
and he does it very well. So, but he owns Hollywood, man. He owns Hollywood. Anything he says or does is box office. They'll Anybody will give him money to do anything he wants. Carte blanche. Amazing. And people, but if you tell them what I just told you, they'll agree with you. I I mean, he could, if I was an actor, but I don't have any agents, or my agent's retired. I'm out of the business now. I could go back in if I wanted to. I just don't want to. But he can keep me out of the business, or he can get me fired if he wanted to. I mean, that's how powerful he is, even though I don't like him. It's even though I'm dissing him right now, you know, he's a good actor.
Yeah. Would you?
Go ahead.
Oh, no, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I guess I can tell the difference between bad guys and good acting.
Yeah. It really does show in definitely in the shows and the movies and all that stuff. Um, and would you rather do movies or sitcoms in front of audience?
I want to only do I have made, paid for, wrote, directed, starred in, and cast, produced, directed, wrote, did the lead, and cast about 40 film shorts on my own dollar. Uh, I just send them to film festivals and put them on. They're on YouTube or around, but nobody knows about them. They're just mine. So the answer to your question is I would rather do my movies than do anybody else's movies or sitcoms. I don't care. There are certain people who I'll work for no matter what. Um, Friends, if they just,
Mhm.
my friends, I'll, do it for free. And who's Don Siegel, he's passed away now. He directed me in Escape from Alcatraz. Boy, was he a good director. I mean, he taught Clint Eastwood how to direct. When I was on Escape from Alcatraz, he was teaching Clint Eastwood how to direct. And he had done at least five other movies with directing Clint Eastwood. And on all those movies, that's where Clint Eastwood learned how to direct. Now he's done a lot of movies and he learned from a lot of directors, all the directors that he worked for. But he did a minimum of 6 movies with Don Siegel, and he really listened to Don Siegel. He treated Don Siegel like a father. He listened to him, and because I would watch him listen to Don Siegel, because all my scenes were with Clint Eastwood, so I was just
Right.
there. They would just like I wasn't there. I mean, it was like it was like an insult in a way. They wouldn't
Yeah.
even look at me. Yeah, I mean, like it was the three of us. You know, I'd be doing a scene with Clint Eastwood in Escape from Alcatraz, and Don Siegel would say, "Cut," and then Clint Eastwood always would say, in the middle of a scene, he would say, why are we cutting?" Clint Eastwood wants to know what's going on. There's
Absolutely.
no
Yeah.
secrets from Clint Eastwood. Whatever's going on, he wants to know what's going on. So if Don Siegel yelled, now Don Siegel is older than him. Don Siegel has done black and white movies that are famous and will last forever. I mean, this guy's got chops. You know, this guy knows what he's doing.
Mhm.
So, and he was teaching Clint while he's filming and directing. He's teaching him how to direct. He goes, why are we cutting?" And Don Siegel would come up to him and just right in front of me, you know, frump, and he'd go, "Well, you know, the camera jiggled, the camera went off the dolly. We have to do it again." "Oh, okay, fine." I mean, as long as you give him a good reason, he's fine, Clint. But he just wants to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Why did you yourself cut? You know,
Well, shoot.
or
Me too.
what?
Me too. Like, I don't want to just sit there and do a
Well,
whole
good.
great scene
Hey,
and then
that's
you
fine.
know,
I have nothing against it, man. I'm saying that's why he's a great director. Oh, and why Clint is a good director and a good actor. He
yeah.
wants to know everything going on. He uses all of it, and he's an actor. He's a really good actor. He's not. That's not Clint Eastwood you're watching. That's an actor working. Um, so yeah, Clint Eastwood, and they would just ignore me, and I would get insulted. But he would explain. Clint Eastwood wanted to know, why are we doing this? Whatever, even if on the, you know, they take one, okay, blah, 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 cut. And he said, "Oh, no, we're going to do it again." Clint Eastwood said, "Why are we doing another take?" He's a one take guy. If you were
Yeah.
going to do another take, you got to give him a good reason, not, "Well, I just want insurance." That's not good enough. Why are we doing it again? And Don Siegel, as big a guy as, you know, he was a very short guy, but as
Huh.
big as his vibes were, you know, he's the director, Clint is the actor. And Clint recognizes that. Whatever Don Siegel said, Clint did. You know, there was
Right.
father, son, you know.
Mm.
But if Don Siegel said, "Okay, let's do it again," Clint would say, "Why are we doing it again?" He said, "Well, I just didn't like, you know, what it was, or the camera jiggled, or I just want insurance." But the second one, if he insisted, okay, so I want insurance. "Well, I mean, I don't know, you know, I don't want to do it again. Clint, let's just do it one more time." Okay, I mean, he'd give in. He'd question it, right? But always, and they would ignore me. They would just, or talk back and forth about what he wants changed. You know, Don Siegel. And, "Well, I think maybe if you, you know, did it like this, or maybe if you gave it to him, or maybe if you didn't walk over there, because I can't, you'd walk out of frame." So he's okay, fine, you know, let's do it again. Uh, and yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from Clint as much as I did from Don Siegel. He's just really, they had a great working relationship. But one time I got so mad that they were ignoring me, literally right in front of me, and they didn't look at me. They didn't ask me, "Do you mind if I talk to him?" Or any, they just, like I wasn't there. So after 3 months, well, 2 months of doing that, because I was on the movie for 3 months,
Mhm.
I just, I go, "I'm going to speak up." You know, he always, you know, Clint always speaks up. I'm going to speak up. So next time he did that, you know, Clint, why are we doing this? "Well, we got blah, 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 blah." And I said, so he said, "Okay, let's, moving on." I said, "No, no, wait." It was almost like a voice out of nowhere. They go, "What? What do you mean, wait? What? What's going on?" Looking at me. They go, I want to do it again. I think I can do it better. Because I knew that was the question. Why are we doing it again? So, I
Yeah.
mean, that was a quote. I want to do it again because I think I can do it better. And Clint just said, yeah, well, I can't. And he just walked away. And as soon as he
Oh
walked
no.
away, the crew laughed. And as soon as the crew left, Don Siegel walked away. So I'm standing
What?
on the set all alone, and everybody's laughing at me because Clint just got, well, I can't, he said, and walked away. So that really irked me. So I shut
Yep.
up and we did it. Oh man, that that's that got to me. The fact that he dissed me in front of everybody, and everybody, the crew, which was which was Clint Eastwood's crew, Mel Paso Productions, Clint Eastwood's company. They were
Wow.
working for Clint, and they're laughing at me because their boss said, well, I can't. So I spent nights laying awake trying to say, I got to get out of the barrel. Because for the next couple of days, man, they would just prank me all the time because of that. I mean, I just, no matter who, strangers would just, I don't know, whatever. I can't remember what they did, but it was getting worse and worse. And I said, I got to get out of the barrel. I got to stop this or I'm going to quit. I mean, it got to the point where I didn't care anymore. I'm going to quit. I can't take this because I can't concentrate. I can't, So finally, one day, when Clint Eastwood said, Don Siegel came and said, okay, let's, he walks up to Clint and he goes, I'd like to do it again. No, Clint Eastwood said that. That's what it was. Okay. One day, about a week and a half after Clint said and walked out of the scene, I'm thinking, I gotta say, I was just automatic. I didn't even think about it. But Clint Eastwood said exactly what I had said. I don't even think Clint Eastwood knew that he was saying something that I had said a week and a half before. Because what he said was, um, Don Siegel said, okay, cut, moving on. And Clint Eastwood said to Don Siegel, no, wait a minute. I want to do another one. I think I can do it better, which is what I said
Oh,
Clint Eastwood a week ago. And Clint Eastwood said, well, I can. I can't do it better. So when Clint Eastwood said, and I just blurted it, I mean, it was like it's like a reflex.
yeah.
I just said, he said, well, I'd like to do it again because I can do it better. And I said, well, I can't. And I walked out of
I
the,
yep. I
just
would have done the
walked
same.
out. I just,
Yeah.
but I thought that everybody would laugh like they did when he walked out. And there was dead silence, which was awful. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I knew I was going to get fired. I mean, that silence, man. And I didn't even look back. I was just walking towards the door to get out because I knew I'm going to be fired. I mean, right in front of everybody, the crew, the director, in front of Clint Eastwood. I mean, there was about like 50 people that I had just walked out in front of on Clint Eastwood.
At least you
So
kept your dignity.
finally, as I got to the door, because I was going to walk. It was, we were shooting on a soundstage, and I was just going to walk out. I was going to go home. I said, in my mind, I was fired. Even nobody said. There was silence all the way to the door, and just as I got to the door, I heard Clint Eastwood all the way back there say, "Hey, Larry, come on back, man. We're only kidding around."
That's so
Okay.
rude.
Yeah. So without even thinking, I just like turned around and walked back. And nobody said anything ever again to me bad. In other words, that was not only did he apologize, but it was like a signal to everybody, okay, leave this guy alone. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
it was because the crew stopped pranking me. Everybody was polite to me. I was I was Clint Eastwood's favorite man now.
Probably, probably the
Just
first
because
person.
of that. And now nothing else happened related to that. I mean, he wasn't my friend. He was Clint Eastwood, like he always was the other 2 months. And
Yeah.
everybody was, but the crew left me alone, man, and they always were polite to me and blah blah blah. So I mean, movies is really weird. The ego thing going on and pecking order, really weird. Okay, listen, I gotta go. I gotta go. I
Okay.
really do. Okay, but thank you very much, Christina. You're a really great listener. I talked your ear off, I'm sure, and everybody else's.
Oh
Okay.
no, I want to know more. I mean, if we could do more podcasts, more
Oh
time.
well, I try. Let's do another one. Wait a couple of while and
Yeah,
just call me back. I mean, you got my
absolutely.
phone number, you know. But the thing that you did that was really great is you called me the day before. The call that put you on a totally other plane. So do that if you want. If you, I'll do it anytime you want. I'll do your podcast, but just call the day before, just like you did. Okay, is that cool?
Yeah, I much appreciate it. I'm gonna check in on you, making sure you're still alive,
Okay, cool.
if that's
That's cool.
okay.
Okay, yeah.
And
Because and see, I remembered your name. I
yeah,
can't do that. I mean, that's a plus. That's a positive. That means, I've got good vibes. We've got good vibes because if I have any kind of uptight, that discombobulates me because there's a lot of people who I don't remember their names, and I've known for a longer time than you. So cool. Okay, and rock on. And Alaska is so far away. I mean, that's unique. I generally
well,
I do the United States,
well,
and
we
once
are
I
in the
did.
United States.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's weird. I don't consider you the the lower 40, the lower 48, I guess is what it is. Lower 49, 50. I don't know. How many states are there now? It's 50,
It's
right?
well, we up here call it the lower 48 down there.
Okay,
So
well,
yeah, we're
but where, okay, so lower 48. Okay,
yep,
Alaska's 49. Oh, Hawaii.
yep. Hawaii's the next one. Yep.
Right. Okay. So me in the lower 48. Yeah. Generally, I've done podcasts and I immediately forget people's names or the name of the show. Your name, I'll remember your name, Christina. And
Yep.
what is it? No, don't tell me the oil something, the oil hoppers or I don't know, something oil. Okay. All right.
Runners.
Oil
Runners.
runners. The oil
Yep.
runners.
Yep. And we definitely want to know about your books too, real quick.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. I'll just show it. Okay, here's the book. That's the book right there. It's
Okay.
that guy. It's on Amazon. They'll send away for it on Barnes and Noble, but Amazon or maybe your bookstore. But mainly, you can send away on Amazon. And this one, that's a memoir. It's really good and funny. It's got 4.5 out of 5 stars on
Nice.
Amazon. This
Okay.
one um, is called Loopholes, and this is not the same cover. It's a different cover. It's a better
Okay.
cover. I mean, it's a more colorful. I painted the new cover, but it's called Loopholes. But that is only $5, but it's just on the internet. It's a Kindle book, so you can only read it on the internet. But it's $5. Hey man, cup of coffee.
Okay.
Sure.
Well,
But it's also funny, and it also got 4.2 out of 5 stars on Amazon. So there's your two.
all right.
Okay, that's the commercial. Okay, Christina,
Oh,
thank you very much. I
all
gotta run.
all
I'm
right.
okay. Thank you. We'll talk again. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Rock on.
All right. You too. All
All right. Bye.
right. Bye.
Okay, let me see if I can do this. Oh, there you go.
Okay, everybody. So that was, and we got a great deal with that, and we're going to keep going on the broadcast. And so definitely we're going to buy the book. We're going to read the book. We heard his story, most of it, and I know there's so much more that we can do. But as far as it's going, let's keep it rolling. I mean, who's gonna be next? Don't know. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.